After 2 straight wins, the San Jose Sharks come up short on their trek on their final journey to the road trip. They lose in a shootout to the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-2. Still alive, but not too much. Welcome inside Sharks Postgame Live, presented by Pucknology After Dark. You can be a part of the show using the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. You can tweet any of us on the Twitter screens, on the Twitter handles below. Tonight we will talk about the road trip is finally over. Is there a shot? Maybe. And we'll talk about the emotions of going through a day of hoping to make your fantasy hockey championship final. I am joined by AJ Strong and J Alexander 46. Gentry, since you have the bleeping trophy that I was hoping to win this year, I'll start with you. Good evening, you effing bastard.
What's going on, guys? But you know what? You got to give yourself a little bit of credit. You kept it close. A couple of bad decisions with your fantasy team, starting Mazarek over Crawford. But let's talk about the game tonight in terms of the Sharks and Penguins. That was a pretty lousy first period. It seemed like the Sharks were still kind of, not engaged until the second. But I kind of thought, they battled back. There was a compete there. They battled back. They tied it up. We were able to salvage a point out of this debacle. I really, really, really wish we could have, capitalized on that 4-minute power play in overtime, but what can you do?
There's you can only do so much. You got a point out of it. You had so many chances to get the win. It's just no luck. AJ, thank you for joining us. Good evening to you. Your thoughts tonight?
It's disappointing when you look at the chance that they had at the end. I can't fault them too much for looking a little lax in the first period when you consider they're at the second game of back-to-backs. They're at the very end of this ridiculous road trip. I would expect there to be some fatigue there, but they did, turn it on in the second. Got some good looks. There's a couple times, though, I don't know what the fuck Thornton is thinking. Sense what is happening in the game. You've got 2 minutes on a power play out of the last 3 minutes of the game, and he's looking for passes when people are in front of the net. And it's like, just get the puck on net, man. Stop looking for, the open guy, the pretty play. And then in the overtime where you're gifted. Granted, I shouldn't say gifted. There was no doubt it was a 4-minute penalty, and occasionally that's going to happen. But the fact that the hockey gods allowed you to have the entire 4 minutes, 4 out of 5 minutes, on a power play, 4-on-3, completely open ice, and Thornton again is looking for these pretty plays, and twice he almost coughs up breakaways. It's like, sense the situation, get the puck low, get it on net. Stop doing these cross-ice passes looking for the pretty shot. Just get it. This is situational hockey. You're a fucking all-star. How is this not in your head? I don't get it. I was very frustrated by that. But other than that, but I'm still, I think, looking okay in my April 4th prediction of them being mathematically eliminated. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see what happens. There's a number of things we're getting to tonight. We will have the updated standings coming up shortly. Overall for this road trip, they go, 3-2, or no, 3-2. Guys, help me out here.
It was a 7-game road trip.
7-game road trip. They've got 3 wins.
They go like 3-3-1.
Yeah, it must have been 3-3-1. I don't know where I'm trying to get an extra loser point out of it, but overall, decent road trip. You needed to have more. You needed to have a better effort out of it. And I guess if you look at it at a good way. You guys are still in the race. You're still within reach. I mean, you have that, and now you're coming home. You got Colorado, who's essentially been mathematically eliminated. You have a back-to-back against Arizona. You have Dallas, who is fighting for a wild card spot for the sake of their sanity right now. And then you have Edmonton, and then you have Los Angeles. And we've said this back when the schedule came out, when we had the Stadium Series press conference, when Gary Bettman admitted that the league purposely put these Sharks-Kings games all over the place intentionally for their entertainment and our torture. You have 6 games left. I'll have your predictions while you talk about this, but outside maybe the LA game, all of those can be winnable, right?
Well, we know how stellar they've been. We know how stellar they've been at home this season, so sure. Who knows this? The entire team. It's been a season of inconsistency, to say the least. So who knows who knows? It's wait and see at this point. But I still don't understand what the hell Joe Thornton was thinking. I'm going to be on that for quite a while today.
We've kind of have to conclusion now. He doesn't just he doesn't shoot the puck. He passes it. Even when he scores, me and Gentry will always say, "Oh, you didn't score. Or, you didn't shoot the score. He passed it to the net."
Yeah, he passed it to the opposing team's goalie, and that goalie missed.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I think I'm still waiting for those signs where it's like the STP, where it's like, oh, is that for no, does that stand for the the oils? No, it stands for shoot the puck, and it'll just have Jumbo Joe like on the logo. But you know what? We're not out of it yet, and you have to be kind of cautiously optimistic about it. And with this team, and it's like you know what? I gotta say this. For coming off of back-to-back starts, I gotta give props to Stalock. He, after giving up those 2 in the first, he kept us in it for most part. He made the big saves when they needed to get saved, and and if it wasn't for him, it would have been a hell of a lot worse. And does anybody know why Nemo didn't start today?
Well, I had heard, because when I had pointed out, or when I saw that the Sharks had tweeted that Stalock was in net, I'm going, whoa, he's getting back-to-back chances. And then somebody tweeted out that Niemi appeared to be slightly under the weather or something. Who knows what the excuse is? But whatever. If you're Gritchen415 on Twitter, you're just a diehard Nemo fan, and you could have Patrick Waugh at the height of his phenomenon being the backup, and that person would still suck because Niemi's everything. But other than that, whatever. Stalock was fine. There was nothing. When you're only putting up 2 goals, when you look at the firepower that this team has. Couture has been pretty snake bit lately, but Marleau, Pavelski, Thornton, Couture, Wingles has had some looks. Carlson. When you out of that squad, when you can only muster up 2 goals a game, there's issues there. And granted, you take into account that Vlasic's not out there. You've had to introduce some new blood lately with Tarasov, and now the debut of Fedun with the injuries that we've seen. I think Stalock performed more than admirably in this role, and if you're a Niemi lover, fine, be the Niemi lover. If you have to wear those teal colored glasses to dig it, knock yourself out. But your horizons are extremely limited.
But doesn't it say something in regards to that? even if he was ill, or the proverbial flu-like symptoms, that they didn't go out with Niemi on a back-to-back when he's just been like this strong power horse that's played through whatever this entire season. And for that matter, if Stalock had lost yesterday in Philly, they just push Nemo through? I mean, I would have thought for sure, considering what McClellan's psyche's always been all year, that he just keep playing Nemo no matter what.
Well, who knows? Like we've discussed before, maybe it's a case that they need to be mathematically eliminated, and then you see what happens if Stalock gets, say, the final 2 or 3 games all boom, boom, boom. And that would probably be a pretty glaring indicator that Niemi is not going to be part of this team come July. But who knows? That this season's been so goddamn weird. We can't even begin to predict what is going to happen come July 1st, or we should say prior to that date.
Or for that matter, April 12th, when the season most likely comes to an end if they are eliminated from postseason contention.
I still think it would be funny as if our season hung in the balance on the very last day when we face LA at the Staples Center.
Prophetic.
That would be in a way poetic and then possibly tragic. The team that ousted you in epic fashion last year is also the team that eliminates your playoff streak. I'm so worried about this team right now. The psyche is not. You thought they were going to come out with a little bit more gusto because you thought they were going to play for each other after the disappointment of last season, and that chemistry still wasn't there. There still seemed to be a lot of bitterness. Maybe they didn't get their rally mimosas earlier today, so
it is Sunday fun day.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. While you guys were talking, got the standings updated. This is as of right now. So you're looking at Central Division's just a crazy logjam. Throw in with Minnesota with the top 4 in the Central, and it's an insanity. But you look at the Pacific Division. Anaheim, I think the next time Vancouver loses, or if Anaheim gets a point, they win the Pacific. That's pretty much been settled no matter what. Vancouver is at 91 with 7 to play. Calgary, with their win over Nashville today, goes to 89. They leapfrog over LA, who's now currently out. So Calgary at 89 with 6 to play. LA is 88 with 7 to play. Dallas's win last night in Vancouver in overtime puts them at 84 with 6 to play. The Sharks, that's how painful that 1 point is. The Sharks lose a point because they lost to Pittsburgh in the shootout, go to 83 with 6 to play. Meaning, 6 games left, which means San Jose's maximum is 95 points. Calgary is at 89. Basically, Calgary needs a combination of 7 points they gain or 7 points lost by San Jose, and it's over for San Jose. So, the quote-unquote tragic number is 7.
Well, I'm just the other tragic number in there is LA has an extra game remaining.
And that's the big catch there. I mean, it can come down to Saturday, April 11th, Sharks-Kings, when the Kings have to wear those fugly white pants on national television at noontime on NBC, taking on the Sharks. That's the big one. Now, I believe Calgary's probably going to play a late-night game on Hockey Night in Canada that night, and we will have to go through the schedule if we really want to get cracking. But, I mean, there's still a shot. There's still a shot that Calgary can go by the wayside. I mean, LA has been up and down. They played well on their East Coast swing, but nothing for sure. Dallas is hanging in there, which we kind of expected them to do at the beginning of the year, but they just fell flat on their face. Granted, Tyler Seguin helps with that. If the Sharks, with their 6 games, can win out, you still have a shot. I mean, you give them credit. Now, here's the other thing, too, while I have this up. Even if they lose, they're still haven't lost their positioning in the draft to get a chance at tanking for McDavid. I mean, there's no way that they lose out. I mean, maybe with Colorado winning, they would gain one more spot, but it's an extra 1.5% chance that they would get at the pick.
It also comes down to when you look at Calgary, that schedule it's not awesome, but it's not a cakewalk either. I mean, you have Dallas, so a lower level team. Then they're basically halfway through a 5-game roadie right now, so they're going to be at Dallas tomorrow. Then you've got at St. Louis, which is that's probably, I'm sure, going to be a very tough game for Calgary. But then you get the Oil, and we all know the Oil, and then the Coyotes. So you basically get two of the worst teams, the two worst teams in the West, back to back. But then to try to finish out your schedule, you got to host the Kings and then go to Winnipeg. So it's not an easy schedule over the next 6. I'd say that they could potentially go 3-3. So maybe that's enough to get them in. Maybe that leaves them on the outside looking in by 1 point.
Right, and they got it. And here's the thing with that. And Chester Chiva, thank you for saying this. They start an hour. They start actually at the same time Sharks and Kings will play. It's 1 p.m. Mountain Time, so 12 p.m. Pacific. So they'll be going back and they'll be having the same time with Jets and Flames, along with Kings and Sharks. And for the Jets, for that matter, it could be also for their playoff lives, too, in Manitoba. It's going to be a huge game, but the game beforehand for Calgary is especially huge since it's against the Kings. And that will basically tell you whether or not what you're playing for going into Saturday.
Yeah, and the Kings, not a totally easy schedule either. They're at the end of a 5-game roadie. They have to play at Chicago tomorrow. That should be a fantastic game. But then their problem is, at least, or for our problem, they have 7 games left, and 2 of them are against the Oil, which doesn't help things. But they have to play the Avalanche, who have been almost as inconsistent as the Sharks this season, but they have to play at Vancouver. But the thing is LA has pretty much owned Vancouver this year. There's something about the Kings that Vancouver cannot get over. And then, of course, they get to play they get that Western Canada 3-game swing, and they have to finish against the Sharks. So I would, if I had the money on that, I'm saying LA's probably going to go 5-2 on that, and they're going to leapfrog, and they're going to get in, and somebody, whether it's Calgary or Winnipeg, they're going to be on the outs.
And you also have, let's not also forget, Vancouver came into LA on March 21st and pretty much said, oh, no, you don't. They won 4-1 in Staples. So while they've controlled them the last game without Ryan Miller, and who knows when his return is going to be. I mean, I'm sure if there was something he could play through, he'd be playing right now. That's for sure, especially after last night's tragic loss.
No, I'm talking about in Vancouver, though. LA has owned Van in Van.
Oh, in Vancouver, gotcha.
Yeah, the guys on TSN 1040, they, every time it gets to that point where they talk about the playoffs, the picture, and they talked about they have to face the Kings one more time, and they were joking about, geez, why couldn't that game be in LA? Because they just can't seem to get it done when they're at Van.
It's always interesting to see where home ice goes with. Gentry, what were you going to say?
I was mostly just looking at the schedule and looking at everything. It's like this is a very doable. The Sharks. This is very winnable for the Sharks. Like it's it's not inconceivable for them to win out the rest of the year. I mean, you have teams that are kind of, Colorado's been kind of inconsistent, but they're still hanging in there. But they're beatable. They don't have that one guy. They're playing without McKinnon. That could be an easy win. Then you got the home and home with Arizona. All these games, when you look at the schedule, if the Sharks put the pedal to the metal, they could easily win those games because you have Arizona that's not playing well, and because Smith hasn't been playing well. Then you have Then you have Dallas on Monday, the fan appreciation night, which you get your free Patrick Marleau bobblehead.
Don't forget the tweet up.
Yeah, no, it'll be wearing a tweet up button on.
Yeah. That's right.
But when you say that there's the chance to put their foot on the gas, well, they've had so many times to do that this season, and they've clearly proven that is just not in their vocabulary this season. Funny thing though, it's almost as if Andrew Bench is watching us. He just kind of echoed some points that were made by Eric. He just tweeted out, if the Sharks go 6-0 in the final 6, it's plausible to see the Kings go 3-3 in their last 6. Now, maybe he doesn't have the current schedule because obviously the LA has 7 remaining, and then it says, and Calgary could lose to LA, Dallas, St. Louis, and Winnipeg in their last 6. I'll give him LA, St. Louis, and Winnipeg. I don't see Calgary losing to Dallas. Calgary's done pretty well with Dallas, the last season or so.
If anything, here's the funny thing, guys. As I'm going through the schedule here, we are 2-1 against Arizona. We are 2-0 against Dallas. We won't talk about LA because that's LA. But they beat Edmonton, or they lost 3 times to Edmonton. 4 times? No, we beat them 1 time, right? Yeah, we beat them. Okay.
You would hope so.
They're 1-2-1 against Edmonton. And it's in Edmonton. The schedule is set for them. This is probably their. I mean, they go to Edmonton, and that's their only game outside the Pacific time zone for the rest of the regular season, and that's a 6:30 start. So all of their games are either on the Pacific Coast or outside. The last game at noon on NBC in LA are going to start as early as 6 p.m. Well, I take that back. The Arizona one, I guess, is considered Mountain Time Zone because of their thing. But it's doable, guys. I mean, sure, I'm the optimist. I'm the one. I mean, and let's put it this way: if Thornton shoots the puck, game over. We're celebrating. It's 3 in a row. They come home. They're in this race. They're only 5 points out. The other teams have to battle each other first before the Sharks play LA. They have a back-to-back against Arizona and an Oilers game. I mean, it's doable. Make your move now.
Jump in on that, Gentry.
Yeah. No, because I was just trying to think of a good point. And it's like, yes, it is doable, and I'm kind of going from what AJ was talking about earlier, was that it's like they had their opportunities. I mean, how awesome would it have been if they would have came out of this road trip with a winning record, and points in each of the games? Like you could have seen some life in that. But as we've seen, like if we were facing Toronto, like on the final day, that I would feel a little bit more, better about the things. But I would love to see. I want to see the streak continue. But here's the thing, and here's the question I pose: do you want to see this team make it to the playoffs only to get ousted really quickly in round 1, or do you want to see them not make it and use this offseason to do more of a rebuild or refresh, retool, whatever buzzword, Silicon Valley thing that Doug Wilson's going to throw in our face? But do you want to see that?
Now, here's the catch with that. They can be eliminated as it is. I mean, and I don't think maybe they gain one more spot in the Western standings and lose a percentage of a chance of the number one pick. After all, I mean, yeah, sure, you're tanking for McDavid, but here's the problem: is it's such a small chance to get it. However, at the same time, you are still in a playoff chase, and let's be honest here: if the Sharks get into that number 3 spot, because I mean, it's pretty much.
It's got to be the number 3 spot in the Pacific because
Right.
there's no way they're
Which
making a wild card
open
spot.
up in Vancouver. Depending on whether or not Ryan Miller gets back, Vancouver is a team we know the Sharks can beat. Okay, so you can take that one. Then you would probably go up against the winner of Anaheim-Winnipeg. Winnipeg probably scares me more than Anaheim does, just because of the raucous, crowded MTS Center. I think Winnipeg can be the Sharks of '94, where that city is buzzing. You have the whiteout back. That's a very good team. Let's not forget, there's a number of guys who won Stanley Cup championships with Chicago in 2010 that are on that Winnipeg roster. Pavlik's played well. I mean, Anaheim can get upset. We've seen that before, especially with Bruce Boudreau as your coach. You do that, now you're facing Winnipeg, which is very doable. You do that, then you're back in the conference final against whoever in the Central, and they've played fairly well against the Central teams, except for maybe St. Louis. I think they've played well against Nashville. I mean, they've played very well against Chicago. We've seen that, and by then Patrick Kane will be back for the conference final. I mean, it's doable, guys. If they put their heads down, get on their tracks, all out, like the NHL Network coach always said, 110%, 100% of the time. They can go crazy.
I'm going to go with no, but thanks for playing. No, to get back to Gentry's question, no, I think at this point, I think the Sharks need to miss the playoffs. I don't think getting there, whether they sneak in or whatever, I mean, we've all seen, at least from the San Francisco Giants, that if you just get in, anything can happen. But the Sharks are not the San Francisco Giants. The Sharks, to me, don't have a kind of spark plug that the Giants have had when they needed it, whether it was somebody like a Hunter Pence coming in or anything. When you've got a guy like, Pablo jacking 3 in game 1, like whoever saw that coming.
Whoa. You forget that this...
I'm not done yet, guys.
Hey. You interrupt me.
I let you talk. No, it's you. The Sharks rarely get surprised by anybody, whether it's Ben Carlson or whatnot. They haven't. They're not the key guy that you see coming up in, like, when you see what happened with, say, Joe Panic or anything like that. But the Sharks' dominant players that need to be dominant have not been dominant this season. I just think it's time that, they need to miss a playoff. They need to hear it from the fan base even louder. They need to see the season ticket sales start to dwindle. I mean, you've seen a huge amount of that this season, where you can get a ticket for this Wednesday facing Colorado on StubHub for like $18 right now, and we're not talking like a nosebleed seat. We're talking like 10th row in the upper deck. These are not bad seats. So it's clear the fan base is sick and tired of it. I think if the Sharks were to make it this season, and say they got lucky and made it in by just a point or by the slimmest of technicalities, and for shits and giggles, they get past the first round, or they take the first round and they lose by 1 goal in Game 7. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds very familiar. But anyway, you have that. Then I think it's just a case of Plattner plowing along, and Wilson stays, and Thornton stays, and Marlowe stays, and nothing changes. And then it's going to be the definition of insanity, where they're going to go with the same basic group next year, and they're going to expect something different. And why? Gentry, go ahead.
Wait, you stopped there for a second. That's was like, okay. All right, Gentry, go.
No, I was thinking like because if you're saying that we don't have the personalities and stuff like that. If we make it to the playoffs, we don't have a Hunter Pence. I like to think that John Scott is our Hunter Pence.
For fuck's sakes! Why did I know you were gonna go there?
Hey man, I've got to look at the glass is either half full or half empty, or there's nothing in the glass, or there's no glass whatsoever. So
the glass was shattered back in January. The end of January, that's when the glass was shattered.
Oh, I thought the glass would have been shattered on the 21st of February, but who knows?
No. It shattered as soon as the month of February started.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I agree with Gentry in the fact that when they didn't show up for the Stadium Series game, that's where I think a lot of people. It was already bad that the team was already struggling and everything, but
leading up to it,
up in the Stadium Series was the one that kind of really hurt people, and for them losing people. Next season ticket-wise, oh, absolutely. In fact, I've talked to a number of people who are going to give up completely their tickets, or they're downgrading them.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen downgrading, or I've seen a number of people, whether it different forms on whether it's social media, the internet, whatever. But I've seen several where it's people that they say they had a partner and they would split the game. You get 20 this year, I get 21, and then next year you flip it, or that person who only gets 20, they get the first pick or the first 2 picks of whatever. Either way, however you divvy up that last game. But now I'm seeing those people looking for 2 more partners. So instead of going to 20 games a year, they're just going to go to 10 and try to divvy it up that way, and along with downgrading, or they're just like, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to take a season off. The Sharks have, so I think I'll take next season off, and then we'll decide next season where we're at, because like we were saying, if they miss the playoffs, because you're talking about that it is very doable for them to get in, and it is possible. You have to admit that it is possible. However, my thing is, what if they do make if they do win enough games, but it's just a point out, or it's 2 points out? How much are we going to look back at the game versus Detroit that they had in hand, or the Ottawa game, or the outdoor game, all of these games that were so winnable, or just the month of fucking February? I mean, how do you not look back at that and say, here were 6 points, easy points for the taking, that you fucking handed away. You were ahead after 2 periods, and you let this team just come back on you. It's kind of like, no, you're getting what you deserve, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you are getting what you deserve, and unfortunately, you go from 112 to right now 83 with the maximum of 95. You already got what you deserve, personally, because through the pay gates as it is. I mean, let's be real here. They should not have been. They should have been better. They've played their lazy game. Unfortunately, this franchise has been very emotionally and physically damaged from its own failures. I mean, we could go all the way back to '91 when Gunn said, "Oh, I want to steal half the roster from the North Stars," and then they went, "Okay, well, we're not going to give you the #1 overall pick. You guys don't get Lindros. Bye." I mean, we could go on like that. I will say this. The day that this happens, and when he's named captain, it'd be great. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest defenseman for the San Jose Sharks, our new captain, Hunter Pence. Just picture him along with Burnsy in the same locker room.
I guarantee you that Hunter Pence would have more goals than John Scott this season.
That crowd would get ruckus if that happened, and you know he would be an outspoken guy, and he would actually motivate the team, but unfortunately we don't have that guy who sits, who is a leader in the locker room, sadly. We still don't. But, man, that rotating A, just continues to do us wonders.
Well, it feels like if there's anybody that would come close to Pence, I think just based on the Epic series, it's probably Pavelski. That's probably the closest we're going to get. We are seeing some items coming in, some quotes coming in from Ross McKeon on Twitter from McClellan saying, we're going to leave feeling real disappointed. We left a real important point on the ice, and moral victories don't get us anything. But in this case, we're happy with the fight we had there in our group. One of the funny things is, will this fight continue? I expect it to, and we're not out of it yet. But there's people watching and reading that and thinking, this guy's nuts. But who knows? We'll see. So he's clearly appealing to the puck guy and all of us. In fact, I have to update Urban Dictionary that if you search puck guy, it automatically comes up as eternal hockey optimist. But I'll get that on Urban Dictionary soon enough.
Well, I think he's also trying to just continue working because
the positive message.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to be like, okay, I still kind of want to work here, but honestly, if I was McClellan, I would be looking to go elsewhere and go to a new organization.
But McClellan wants to live here.
Wait, hang on, guys. You guys are printing up a perfect segue because while Chris isn't here, I'm going to throw a loop at you guys. It's time to play a game.
I'm an asshole.
All right, guys. It's time to play a game. You guys are going to answer both questions. I'll decide which one is actually right. Question one. Hands on buzzers. And here we go. Should the Sharks keep Todd McClellan? AJ.
Yes, absolutely. It's not his fault. You can't. You're the chef. You cook with the groceries you've been given, and wherever Doug Wilson, he's shopping at the Mi Pueblo on the bad side of East San Jose when he should be at shopping at the Whole Foods in Atherton. So you can't blame the chef for making a shitty meal when he's giving crappy groceries. I think McClellan has done an awful lot. I think at the very least he deserves to play out, or he deserves to have the final year of his contract next year, although then you get into the issue of how hard are guys going to play for a lame duck coach. But either way, bottom line, I say, yeah, keep McClellan.
Gentry, agree or disagree?
Oh, you ignorant slut.
This isn't the false dichotomy. This isn't the dichotomy.
I've been waiting for this for a while. I say you let McClellan go. He's taken a pretty talented roster and has kind of done nothing with it. Yeah, he's gone to back-to-back, conference finals. But you got to look at this: is that Ron Wilson had a less talented roster and was able to do more with it and able to win more games with the less amount of talent that McClellan currently has. And he hasn't done anything with it. He has been, and I know this is going to hurt a lot of people, he's been our Harbaugh. He's gotten us so close, but he hasn't done his crap with it.
I'm sorry, but I would disagree. I'd have to go back and look at the rosters that Wilson has had versus what McClellan has had, but I can guarantee you, at least over the last couple seasons, Wilson had a much better defensive group than McClellan has. I'm not talking like when you take Boyle. Oh yeah, Boyle was better than any defenseman Wilson ever had. But I'm talking about underneath that top pair, those bottom four guys that the Sharks keep rolling out there that just keep sucking. the bottom four that Wilson had, much better overall. I'm saying, it's just the overall, the 6 guys that he had, if you were to rate each of them, the average of that 6 would be higher than the average of the 6 that McClellan's had the last couple seasons. That's all. I think Wilson had he had a bit more balance top to bottom. Look at the bottom 6 we've had. It's give me a break.
But let's also remember McClellan's first season where, yes, we came out like gangbusters and won the President's Trophy, and look what happened. And he had the entire amazing talents. He had one of the greatest, staples of defensemen, in my opinion. You had Lukovic, you had Boyle, you had Murray when he was actually, useful.
Was that the season where, like, the first game out of the box, Thornton tried to pick a fight with Getzlaf?
Yes.
Yeah, that was game 1. He started to pick a fight with them, and it wasn't until game 6.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of blame. I don't know that I blame that so much on the coach. The Sharks seemed almost like filled with hubris that season. Like that was like the one season I thought, man, these guys are really cocky, and they don't have any reason to be. I mean, yeah, a president trophy is nice, but you look at the history of it. Winning the President's Trophy is sometimes it's almost akin to winning the Best New Artist in the Grammy. You get that trophy, and then no one ever fucking hears from you again.
That's more like a participation award, like, hey, you tried, or it's kind of like getting.
You did a little bit better.
It's kind of like getting eliminated round 2 of the Kate Cupton playoffs.
Yeah, you did a little bit better than everybody else. So here, you get this pretty banner to hang up. But like I was saying, historically, over the last, say, 20 years, I don't think there's been too many teams, I want to say maybe 3, that won the President's Trophy and went on to win the Cup. Like, winning the trophy, that's the President's Trophy. That's not you want the big shiny thing. You don't want the cute little banner.
Well, now you do some research here.
I know that Detroit was the most recent one to win the President's Trophy and then win the Cup. I think that was the most recent.
Because and that was what? That was what? 08? 07? Somewhere in there?
Something like that, yeah. That was nearly a decade ago.
The President's Trophy has been in existence since 1985-86. So
over 30 years
of the President's Trophy. Of those 30, 8 teams have won the Stanley Cup, the most recent one being the Chicago Blackhawks in the shortened year where they were just gangbusters.
Well, and that's got an asterisk on it because it was a shortened year.
Right, but I mean, they were gangbusters, but the full season goes back to 07-08 when the
Red
Wings won the Cup. The Canucks, when they went to the conference, or when they went to the Stanley Cup and lost to Boston, that was the last time a team had been in the Cup final and lost.
Yeah. Either way, it's the President's Trophy, as Darryl Martin is just tweeting out, is totally meaningless unless you back it up with the big shiny thing, which is absolutely true. So, getting back to what we're saying, yeah, I think. Go ahead, finish it up. I say keep McClellan. Gentry says lose him. All right. What do you say there, Eric?
I say you got to keep McClellan. I don't think it's completely his fault. I think you need to put better talent on his defensive side. However, he does have Larry Robinson, where he should be molding these guys a little bit more into it. And
and you would expect a better defensive performance with Larry Robinson behind the bench.
Absolutely, especially over these last couple of years. And we go on to question number 2. Okay.
Oh, fucking seriously? Really, dude?
We're going for $64,000.
I'm waiting for the lights to go. Oh man, dude, do not break out a fucking flashlight, dude. Do not fucking do it, man.
Oh god, this is gonna get really green.
Son of a bitch.
This is not a promo for the movie Unfriended.
It's about to be. Go ahead.
When will the Sharks unveil the nickname, just the nickname, for their minor league team?
I'm gonna go with I'm
Next
gonna
week?
go with.
Is
I'm
it
gonna
B,
go with.
next month? Is it C, sometime during the draft? Or D, when they absolutely have to unveil it in October?
I'm gonna go with E. Don't give a fuck. They blew their chance. They fucking, it's like everybody else announced theirs. They should have done what they did when they had the press conference where they had the jerseys from the 5 teams. They had representatives from each team. They should have had a similar, like, how the fuck do you blow this opportunity to promote what you're doing? They should have all been announced at the same time. They could have unveiled each one, and had the one guy from Anaheim come in, and it's like ours, and they pull off the thing, and boom, you got the logo, you got the jersey, you got the name. To me, that's another blown opportunity, and the Sharks now, the Thunder's been stolen. It's over. Just at this point, nobody cares.
Gentral?
I'm gonna go with probably sometime at a random point, like in July, when nobody really cares. They're gonna do like some mini press conference. It's gonna be held in Doug Wilson's bedroom. It's gonna be represented by stuffed animals and Slappy, because Slappy, of course, is gonna be the representative, and that's how it's gonna be done. And it's gonna be done on Twitch because nobody is going to want to care about the unveil of this, of the San Jose Barracudas.
And sponsored by BuildABear.com.
Yeah. And guys, your final question.
Well, who got the point?
Oh, who got the point? Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Premature Final Jeopardy-ish.
Yeah.
Oh boy. People are going to care because they're going to buy the merchandise. I'm going to go with Gentry on that one.
Sympathy points.
No, that's not. No, that's actually no. It's a good point. No, one thing about that, I'm just thinking about the blown opportunity that it should have just been all 5 teams promoting the league as one. But
no,
anyway.
I completely agree.
Although I like how they're going into the communities to unveil them because that's where they're going to play. Personally, Anaheim's just on it with having a hockey fest. That's where they unveiled it. That's where they have the rink at and everything. Ontario, by the way, hey, Luke Robitaille, I got an idea for you. Go with something original because that logo sucks more than your power play right now.
Dude, we're talking about a guy who called LA the greatest hockey city in the world. I think he might have had one too many concussions.
Well, that's true. And that's one too many more than I have.
Yeah, LA didn't realize they had a hockey team until, 88, 89 when Gretzky showed up. And then they didn't realize they had one again until 2012 when they actually won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. Let's not toot your horn there, LA.
You guys
are the Seattle Seahawks of the NHL.
Exactly. What was the line from Big Bang Theory or whatever when one of the guys had a hockey jersey? She's like, "Oh, you like the LA Kings?" He's like, "Oh no, I got this when I was at the Taylor Swift concert at the Staples."
Pretty
it's
much
that type of shit. So go ahead, finish this off, Eric.
All right, now let's try this. The answer is Joe Thornton.
What is somebody who needs?
Hey, let me play the music.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
All right. Yes, AJ.
Who is someone who needs to learn what situational hockey is and know when it's better to shoot than to pass?
Gentry, your response?
Who is shoot the damn puck, Joe?
I'm sorry, you're both incorrect. The answer is who's the Sharks captain next year?
Wouldn't that be something? But how could that possibly happen if Doug Wilson is still the GM?
Well, here's the next question. The answer is the general manager of the San Jose Sharks. We'll go to Gentry for his response. He wrote down.
I didn't write anything down. Damn it. I'm gonna go with Jim Rutherford of the former. Wait, who was it? It was the former GM for Pittsburgh.
Ray Shero.
Ray Shero. I'm gonna go with Ray Shero.
All right. AJ, your response to the answer of the GM of the San Jose Sharks.
Next season.
Next season.
I'm going to go with Doug Wilson because that's so Sharks. Huh?
You put that in a form of a question before you lose your
Yeah, who is Doug Wilson? And because that's so Sharks.
That one's a tough one to call because those could both be your correct answers. We will find out come June. Thanks for playing. You guys win absolutely nothing except for bitching about our wonderful hockey team. Good night, everybody.
Can we just retitle Pucknology After Dark bitching about Sharks?
It still doesn't shrink down the hashtag. I'm sorry.
BAS, bitching about Sharks.
I hate that. Okay, I'm just not going to do it. I was about 2 seconds away from blasting somebody live, on here that something that's happening on Twitter, and I'm just not going to do it because it's not worth it. But some people, let me just put it this way: if you're held, it's just amazing that to be pissed off when somebody holds you accountable to your own words, and then you get pissed off about it when. That's why predictions, when we do it, when we're here and we're talking about like, oh, well, I'm thinking that the Sharks are going to go 4-2 over the next 6, or I think they'll be mathematically eliminated by April 4th, that's just me throwing it out there. I'm not sitting there saying this is going to happen and it's a fact and blah, blah, blah. When you've got certain people out there that sit there and go, Stalock will be pulled in the second. Or we will not score on this power play. And it's like, dude, predictions are generally the dumbest things in the world because one of two things happens. You're wrong, and it makes you look like an idiot with zero credibility for anything whatsoever, or you're right, and then you end up breaking your arm, patting yourself on the back, and that just makes you look like an egotistical prick. So there's no way to win the prediction game except to, it's like war games. The best option is not to play, and so that's where you leave it. So but the bottom line is, if you're going to be a bitch when somebody holds you accountable to your own words, then stop tweeting. Just stop.
Well, isn't that the wonderfulness of the internet? Is slandering people anonymously?
Well, no, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not exactly anonymous, but either way, it's just
what I mean, though.
Yeah, it's my little PSA for all of you. It's just kind of, if you're gonna take shit that fucking seriously, just stop. Thank
you. Preach. Preach.
All right.
And with that, let's go to the tweets.
No fucking song for that? Come on, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were going that high maintenance on our show.
And there is only one song. There's only one song you can use for this, and if you get it wrong, then you lose.
Well, that's nothing new.
You better have the right song, bro. Okay, I will accept that, but I was completely expecting the tweedly-diddy-diddy, tweedly-diddy-diddy-tweedly-diddy-diddy. But I will accept what you use because that's better because it's shorter.
Oh, I kind of like that. Darryl Martin just tweeted. He's going, name the San Jose AHL team. How about the San Jose draft picks that never panned out? That is...
Oh, Darryl Martin, sir. Darryl Martin, sir, you have just won the internet for today. Thank you.
Oh, no. I have a better one. I have the San Jose Sommers because he's such a key mogul into the success of the San Jose Sharks franchise. I mean, personally, guys, if we do fire McClellan, why not promote Roy Sommer? I mean, he's been winning his AHL coaches in history. He knows every youngster on the team. I mean, he would take us to the promised land, right? It's the Sharks equivalent of Jim Tomsula.
I still think best and biggest troll of all time would be firing Doug Wilson and replacing him with Drew Remenda. That would be the best. That would end trolling as we know it.
Oh God,
awesome.
That would be a pipe dream, because then you would know that Drew would hold people accountable, and if you gave Drew any sass, you'd be gone.
You know, there's a part of me that I'm kind of like, I wonder if Drew was ever given any type of an opportunity to be a coach with the Sharks, you know, down the line, whether it was, you know, obviously he was gone after the Constantine era and everything, but was he ever broached about it? Did he ever show any interest, whether it was under Wilson's tenure or anything at that point? But you listen to what he says, I don't know, sometimes I feel like, you know, I think Remenda would be a really, really interesting idea for a coach, at the very least at the AHL level. You know, I would love to see him coach the Barracudas.
I would like to see that too, because you know how the way how he broadcasts is very instructional. He breaks it down for you. It's like, this is why was successful. And if you have a coach who's able to break it down to people who are learning at an NHL level, that would improve everything so much. You would learn how to be good and not just let's just throw them out there and see what happens, like we've been doing this year with Scott Hannan. We all know
I was going to say who was also on the ice for another huge screw-up tonight. Watched it go right by.
If Scott Hannan were a sound effect, he'd be this.
No, he'd be the sound of what drops in my toilet.
Bloop. Well, and with one of the best tweets of all time, I've just been told by Jenny Hockey, the Hunter Pence of Pucknology After Dark is AJ Strong. Thank you, I appreciate that. That is awesome.
She's just mad because I made fun of the LA Kings power play. Thanks a lot.
Oh man, I don't even want to know what I'd be.
Hey, you know what? I was the Hunter Pence of beer pong last night, so it's all good.
How did that go?
We went down 0-2 in our in the bracket or whatever, the round robin, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. I wasn't in charge. When I was told to play, I played. That was it. Went down 0-2 because my partner couldn't hit the water from a pier. But then we started turning it around. We got the third game, got the fourth game, and then ended up in a 3-cup playoff and nailed that, and then that got us into the championship, and it was it's 10 cups aside, and we each had 1 cup left, and the other team, they just glanced right off the top of the rim, and I'm like, oh shit, and then it's my shot, and boom, nothing but net, and that was it. So it was a hellacious comeback. We were talking about, dude, it was like the 2012 Giants, man, 0-2, and then we came back. It's hysterical.
We will keep going with the tweets. This is from Chester Chivo. STP has a new spokesperson. There you go.
Please tell me that you saw the bobblehead that Patrick generation.
I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting there. I'm just trying to read from bottom up.
I'm really hoping that they give that bobblehead out for opening day next season.
Oh dear God, no! Come on. The guy was standing like this. Look, I'm standing in front of our shark hit that I'm putting on the freeway.
No, because I get you know why I think it would be an awesome bobblehead to give away? Just because I've always wanted to know if the Shark Tank, if their plumbing system could deal with 800 plugged toilets all at once, because that's where all those bobbleheads would end up. That'd be pretty interesting. You
don't need to recreate the Coliseum. From Eric Landy, who spells Eric the right way. Is Stalock salvageable for next season?
Absolutely, I think. I still go back. We've talked about this. Last season, he got more starts than he's gotten this year. Why? Niemi was not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. There had been times where I felt like Stalock, like, why aren't you going with Stalock? A perfect example a few weeks ago, he shuts out Montreal. then you go to Montreal. Why wouldn't you start him there? You just shut him out with Stalock. Give him. Don't you think he's at least earned that opportunity? I just,
No.
I feel like Stalock. When you look, I don't think he got enough of a look this season, and especially with as pedestrian as Niemi's been. But as we all know, a lot of that can be blamed on the piss poor defense that Doug Wilson has given McClellan to work with. So.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. I think that if Stalock makes the effort, and then everybody just kind of goes, oh well, here's Stalock letting in a loose goal. And it's like, but then they praise Nemo for making like the most simpleton of saves, where it's like, why is it that Stalock can lose the puck in a scramble and then get scored on? I was like, oh, good going, Stalock. It's like I'd be like, no, good going defense for not clearing the puck. Yeah, but
Exactly.
when Nemo makes like a 50-foot save, it's like, oh, there's Nemo being Nemo. I was like, no, Nemo being Nemo is if you let a soft one in, a la Toscala.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that. And like I said, we go back to that stadium series. I mean, you want to talk about a couple soft goals. So anyway, go ahead, Eric.
I was just getting this up here while you guys were talking.
You better keep both hands up. When you're saying I'm just getting this up here,
I'm just getting it.
We don't want to know what's going on underneath.
No, I was trying to get the Tutora bobblehead on here to fit into the perspective of the thing. That's from Generation X-Wing.
And you know what the best part of this, and you have to read into the subtlety, the best part of this is that he even gave him the worst of the Three Stooges as the name. Out of the Three Stooges, let's be honest, Shemp was the fourth one. He was the one that really did. He was the Pete Best of the Beatles, if you were. Nobody knows that fucking guy. Nobody cares, So that's the best part. Huh?
No. Oh my God, we do have some of the best viewers for this show, and how quickly they're able to do their photoshopping is amazing. So thank you guys. You got most of the time when I'm sitting in here in silence and I'm chuckling, it's because I'm checking my Twitter feed because you guys have put together something amazing. So kudos to you guys.
Generation X is the Hunter Pence of Photoshop.
Yes. Okay. Alden Tanaka says no. This is in regards to the AHL team. No, the team name will be announced on Meerkat. Sorry, Meerkat.
Well played. You don't think they'd pull it off?
No, I'm gonna do one better. It's gonna be a 15-second video on Instagram, or a 6-second Vine video.
No, I bet you it'll be on Periscope, because no one's paying attention to that right now.
And the only way you can view is on Internet Explorer or...
Okay. It'll be on MySpace.
Oh. Go one before that. Go to Friendster.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, fuck, dude.
We're showing our age.
Well,
you know what? It'll be... They'll announce it on AOL Instant Messenger, and the only one who'll be able to see it is Eric, since he's still on AOL.
Bro, get a new email.
Oh, you're so funny. You're such a big old outplay.
Oh, dude, Alden Tanaka with a great one. He said, no, he's the Oliver of the Brady Bunch.
Oh,
that is awesome.
No, he is the 7 of Married with Children, that the extra son that was only there for a season before they ousted him and said it was all a dream.
Oh man.
No, or the replacement dog on Family Guy.
Oh God. Yeah, nobody knows. Good going, Seth MacFarlane, on that one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's
right.
we gotta wrap this shit up. What's the next game? Wednesday back home, Colorado.
It's rivalry night, the night you love to hate. It should be the Sharks and Avalanche. It is another NBCSN game.
Hold on. And I do just want to, before we go any further, I think we do need. It would be remiss of us not to say our thoughts and prayers are with Brian Inglam's forehead.
Oh boy!
Oh.
Crap, did he take a puck to the head or what?
Well, if it was Pierre McGuire, I'd have less sympathy.
That was the whole thing. It was like, well, I couldn't have been Pierre McGuire. And there's a couple people that got a little butthurt about that comment on Twitter, but it's kind of like, if you can't sense that was a joke, you have bigger issues, but okay.
But here's my thinking is, why wasn't Pierre McGuire waiting to go? I would have thought he would have been ready since it was a Pittsburgh game. Sidney Crosby is like the greatest person of all time. I mean, I'm going to be all complexed when Connor McDavid comes in and he's playing for the Rangers, because that's how Bettman's going to work it. And I don't know who I'm going to root for. Who am I going to have a bigger boner for? I mean, come on.
Chances are Pierre McGuire was probably, stuck in the Pittsburgh dressing room, either licking Sidney Crosby's private toilet clean, or polishing his stick. If you understand what I mean.
This is Pucknology After Dark, so
hi-yo.
Don't have your children watch.
And with that, we'll talk about the game on Wednesday that will be on NBCSN. Brody, if you're watching and want to join us, by all means, join us. With that comment right there about Pierre. Oh, my God. So the next game is April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. How
Exactly.
would this be, guys?
You know what? I can't wait to do the Pucknology After Dark, because from what I understand, we're going to have Owen Nolan on. We're going to have Drew Remenda on. We're going to because it's fucking April 1st.
Oh, boy. If we actually get those people, that would be something special. Yes, it's the April 1st edition. We will reminisce about the 9 years ago when I scored 2 goals for the Sharks. And that's no joke. That's actually happened. We'll reminisce about that. We'll talk about the Sharks-Avs game. Hopefully we'll be back at full strength tonight. Chris is a healthy scratch. Hope he's doing all right. Go get him. And we will, if we have a special guest or 2 or 3, fingers crossed. I have plenty of work to do tomorrow to make that happen, but we'll see what happens. It's a huge game. Huge game. Colorado essentially is out. They would love to finish off the Sharks. Your guys' thoughts about coming home against Colorado? You get an extra day off.
Bigger surprise. Colorado tanking this season, or Calgary being kind of, a really strong, tough team? I don't know about you. I expected a lot more out of Calgary this season.
As the surprise guest here, can I interject?
Oh, boy.
Motherfucking May. If I may, neither is a damn surprise, because Colorado was the goddamn king of PDO for the lesser initiated. That is the motherfucking luck stat. Colorado was the luckiest team last season, and no surprise, Calgary wins that stat this year. They are both the luckiest and therefore the unluckiest team over 2 seasons. That's why that shit happens. There you go.
Wow, and with that, we're out of time, folks.
Our apologies to Matt.
I just jumped in because I felt like it right there. There you go.
Holy dude, how many fucking sheets to the wind are you, bro?
Okay, yeah, number 1, how plastered are you? Wow.
Dude. Okay. You can tell, dude, he's hammered. In fact, look.
Yet I dare you to contest the points I just made right there.
No, I'm not contesting that. I'm saying, Jesus Christ, look at the fucking shelf unit behind him. He's drank everything. There's nothing on it.
I know. Where's the stuffed animals?
No, that was motherfuckers. Like, what's that last Pucknology After Dark? Like, we're moving in 2 months. We packed that shit up because, the extraneous shit goes first.
Yeah,
Therefore,
apparently the
stuffed
beer
animals.
is extraneous.
No, I was just thinking like this.
The beer is both extraneous and it's the first thing that comes on board as well. Therefore, there's plenty of beer. So, yeah.
I feel like this was hours of being forced to watch WrestleMania, so he came on like doing a wrestling promo. We're gonna take it to the
God
top.
damn! My motherfucking roommates, and I'm sorry, I apologize. All watchers of Pucknology are like, God damn, my roommates and they're fucking John Cena, boner, like, God damn, this shit is so predictable. Like, it's like the NHL if they removed even like, well, shit, it's about the same, but it's pretty damn predictable either way. But they're like, you know, that little like tiny bit of like maybe they remove that shit. You know who's gonna win. You know who's gonna lose. It's like the NHL if, well, they just were trying to make as much money as possible. And with that, I will throw it to Eric and leave it to you to think about that. Mind fuck.
Well, I think one thing that we definitely have to identify on the Twitter machine is that there is a 12-year-old claiming to be an encyclopedia of knowledge when it regarding the San Jose Sharks.
No.
He's 12 years old and he says he's fucking tired of counting SJF. Now, if you're 12 years old and you're using language like that, I think it's very questionable whether we want to have you on or not. To be honest, that's kind of fucked up, man.
Okay, speaking as the youth of the program here, as the only one like newly minted 30 years old, don't complain about your youth, motherfucker. Shut up.
Okay. I'm the host. I'm bringing this down here because all of a sudden we're starting to sound like a mixture of Todd McClellan and Bruce Boudreau from 24/7 in the Epic series. With that, before we break any FCC laws, we're gonna go for AJ Strong.
I think we already broke that.
For AJ Strong, for Gentry Alexander, who's got that Cape Captain that I was so close in getting 4.5 points away from playing for the championship.
Yeah, Jay, you're going down. This is mine. Ain't going anywhere.
Well, shut the fuck up. And for the coherent Chris JWS who showed up for it, I am PuckGuy14. You can follow all of us on Twitter. Keep it real. Keep it fresh. Keep it real fresh. Good night.